Welcome back into the High School Fan Zone on Wednesday night. I'm Randy Rosetta. It's 100.7 The Score. We're transitioning into the Pirate Fan Zone. We're going to talk some Lubbock Cooper softball with, I told you I would never call you longtime coach because you're close to my age, so you're still young.
Oh, there you go. We are young at heart.
Now, Brenon,
yeah,
he is a young pup.
He's
Sherri Culwell and Brenon Rhodes from the Lubbock Cooper softball coaching staff. You guys were, I think, next to come in anyway, and I wanted to wait and see what happened on Tuesday night to make sure. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I'll text Sherri and see how things. Or you actually texted me. I was like, open it up. We'll see how this goes. We won 13-1. You won 13-1 against Amarillo High, the team you were tied for first place in district with. A very, very good team from up north.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to repeat what I texted back to you because this is family radio.
You're right.
Although I think I changed some letters in there.
You probably did. I think it was edited once or twice.
And I told you I've not gotten a chance to look at the box score, but what in the heck did those girls do so well to go up there and win 13-1?
You know, they just started relaxing. Yeah, game before we were playing Monterey had just whooped up on Amarillo High.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, Amarillo High just whooped up on Monterey. Yep. And so we go into the Monterey game a little, I think, more tense than we typically do. We got that game under control, and we just decided, hey, we're just going to play our game. And it's all those cliches. One pitch at a time. Don't let the game speed up on you. And Alyssa Lozano made her return to the mound this past game, and she was very efficient. All we asked from her is ground balls and fly balls, and she pitched 70 pitches and just kept them at bay. Our defense was stellar. Our little freshman third baseman came up with the play that seniors would love to make. It was just that good. And they just started passing the bat. They had a little fun. We saw, two pitchers? They kept going. Probably every 2 innings they would switch their pitcher, and we just handled it. I think it's just because they bought in and they're just ready to go. Your
freshman third baseman, I think Coach sent her over to talk to me the other day. I think she was a little surprised at first, and she did great.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
It's the longer I do this with my website and with doing this, I'm amazed at how, because I tried to put myself in that spot when I was 14 and 15 years old. I would have been like Ricky Bobby. I wouldn't have known what to do with my hands. These 14 and 15-year-old kids now, they start talking, and it's like little adults all of a sudden. And she got comfortable pretty quick the other day talking.
And that's good. Coach Rhodes and I are big believers in putting kids in uncomfortable situations daily. And this little, girl, freshman.
Say her name. I'm afraid I'll mess it up.
It's Arayla Grant.
Okay.
And she's had to learn some big lessons and grew up rather quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Even just since tournament season, because she was in a little tournament game. We were in the Wiley tournament. It was a big time tournament, and game sped up on her. She made a couple of kind of, errors that shouldn't have been made, and we talked to her about it, and she's like, yeah, it just got so fast. So we talked about that. Coach Rhodes is great at controlling the game and controlling the kids and talking to them about things that are uncomfortable and how you got to work through it. And I think maybe some of that's rubbing off on her because she doesn't look like a freshman out there.
Well, Brenon, I want you to follow up on that, because when I mentioned that to her the other day, you guys have so many seniors. For a freshman to be starting, you guys have to have confidence in her. You have to have some faith in her. And I know when I talked to Lainey Gibson, she talked about how your team embraced her coming over from Liberty, and she fit right in. That's one thing to have been through a varsity season, to come over and do that. But you're a freshman. I mean, you've played summer ball. Summer ball is great, but it's so different. If you're the Arayla Whisperer, how did you convince her that she could fit in so well?
I don't think it was me that did it. It was the girls. They've done a really good job this year of kind of controlling pretty much everything. They've kind of taken a lot of the stuff out of our hands, and they've made it their team, and they're just out there playing, having fun, without any pressure. So it's 100% on the girls.
I'm going to get Sherri to blush when we come back after the race, because We talked about that the other day. The one reason they have a lot of fun is because she sets the tone.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching her coach, and I'll explain that more when we come back after the break. Lubbock Cooper is now 16-3, 8-0 in district. And I'm sure you've probably already clinched on, and I don't like talking about that this early, so you're in very good shape for the playoffs. Let's put it that way, with still some season to go. We'll come back after the break in the Pirate Fan Zone. This is Randy Rosetta, and this is 100.7 The Score.
Breaking down Lubbock Cooper sports. This is the Pirate Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back into the Pirate Fan Zone. We're talking Lubbock Cooper softball because these Lady Pirates are on fire. Did you say 16-3? Because my eyes are deceiving me. I keep looking down. I'm trying to give you 2 more wins.
I'll take them.
I mean,
we'll go earn them, though.
Yeah.
Looking at things, and I'm going to be as politically correct as possible, I think you'll have one more this week for sure. Playing Palo Duro, which is they're struggling to find their way. A little bit of a tough time against Monterey. Your district is kind of weird because you mentioned Amarillo High gave it to Monterey pretty good. Monterey played you guys really well. Mm-hmm. And then Monterey took some frustration out on Palo Duro. So it's kind of like you said, you better be locked in every night when you come out. It's not quite as competitive as the girls' basketball was with Monterey, Tesco. Now, you go back to last year when Lubbock Cooper girls were in there. Pretty dang competitive. But you guys are taking care of business. And we've talked a bunch of times about this. I haven't forgotten. I'm going to get you to talk about it.
Okay.
Sherri, we've talked a lot about this. It was a process when you got there. You had to kind of start putting building blocks in place, and a lot of these girls have been with you for that whole ride. How cool is it a coach? You're not a long-time coach. You have coached for a few years. To have coached this long and to see this team, to see it blossom like it has this year.
You know, we talked about that, and it's. I think the word that really comes to mind is it's a blessing, and it doesn't happen all the time. Yes, I've been coaching for a long time, 36 years, and in those 36 years, there's not always. I've been at schools for longer than 4 years, you know, but just because you're there with a group of kids doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to come together and stay together for those 4 years. We've been very fortunate. I've been very fortunate to have Coach Rhodes by my side for 4 years as well. So to have him and then the group of 7 seniors that we've had, it's rare, but it's amazing. It's just so, and not just on the softball field, but just to watch them grow up and the things that they do and then what they're learning and where they're going to school, because not all of them are going to go play ball, but they dang sure when they're out there with us, they play ball, you know, and they put everything out there for us.
Tony Wagner said this the other day because he's losing a team that graduates, I think he said 7 or 8 seniors. And he talked about how you enjoy those years with them, but you enjoy the ones afterwards more because you get to see them grow and what they become and who they turn into.
Well, we see glimpses of the beautiful, talented, smart, you know, clever young ladies that they are now. I can only imagine what the future's going to hold for these kids.
Yep. Okay, so you're up, Brenon.
Okay.
So watching her, and this goes, but when did you get to Lubbock High? I know that's a weird question. I'm trying to think if it's in the frame of when I was at the AJ way back when.
2003.
So you got there about when I was there, about to leave. So I think I knew you back then.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
But I don't think I'd seen you coach back then. I enjoy watching you. There's certain coaches, I like all coaches, don't get me wrong. There's certain coaches I enjoy watching do their thing a little bit more, and Sherri's one of them. Brenon, what does she do to get those girls wound up and headed in the right direction?
Everything, really. Truthfully, she knows how to get them going, and they respond to her well. And I think we both just work together so well, and it kind of makes it easier for the girls that way too. Like we are very similar in a bunch of things and a bunch of decisions. We don't butt heads. We don't really do anything, and I think that helps also.
You say you're very similar, but she's a live wire, and you're very.
We complement each other very well.
Maybe that's a better way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, trust. I'm not trying to jump on you, but
no, we do trust each
this
other.
Man.
Yep.
And
And clearly, the girls,
they do too.
The formula's working for them.
Yes,
so,
sir.
How good is this team? I know I said we're not going to look at playoffs and too far ahead. You still got some stuff to do, but how good is this team?
They're good. They're good, and we won't, we have to win every practice before we can even expect to win a game. So we talked about it. We're going to enjoy the journey. We know there's a destination, but if we look too far, in the future at that destination, we're going to miss what it's going to take to get us there. So we're just enjoying the journey. We're winning the daily practice. We're trying to, help them succeed, and just little things like today we had a little different bunt station, slowed it down and gave them a challenge. Coach challenged them Monday at different stations, just trying to make it better so that they can just start building, because we're not going to take anything for granted, and we're just going to enjoy the journey. I'm
going to compare you guys a little bit to the team that's kind of raised the bar for everybody in Lubbock right now, and that's the Monterey girls basketball team. Because you guys have been good for several years, you've had a little bit of heartache at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. And
that's what happened to the Monterey girls. They had, for 3 years, got to a certain point and couldn't get, and all of a sudden they figured it out, and they finished with the biggest gold trophy. I don't know if the gold ball's any bigger, but it sure looks
It
shiny.
means more, probably.
Is this a team that you feel can take, I don't want to say if heartache's the right word, disappointment, just the way the season's ended the last couple of years where you've made a nice run and abruptly it stops? Do you think this is a team that can feed off of that?
I think so, because if you look at our team, we call them the Core Four. They've been there for every playoff game, every series, every district game. And yes, how much can you take? And so they talk about that, and I think it is something that's not necessarily in the forefront of their mind, because we're not dwelling on that. We're not looking past what we have to do just daily to get there, but it's there. And I think that if we start peaking, we haven't peaked, Jack. We haven't been in more than 1 or 2 5 or plus innings ball games in a while, and so we need to start building on that. In fact, we're going to even press our pitchers a little bit more at the end of the weekend if we don't get enough innings in, so that we can prepare, because it is on their mind, and it is something that I think is
something. One of your girls said the other day that Monterey game helped them because you had to play until the end. Well, I have a feeling, I'll pull back the curtain here a little bit. My wife's a kindergarten teacher, so whenever we're starting to think about summer, she always knows to ask, well, how long will the teams you cover be playing? I always give her a list of who I think. I will sneak this secret out. You guys are on the list that we're starting to look at where certain events are at certain times of the year in June. Let's put it that way. So,
I appreciate that.
Because I think this Lubbock Cooper team's got something special, just like the Monterey girls basketball team. Like I said, I think they've followed some of the same paths. So I would appreciate you guys coming in to talk, and I'm sure we'll do this again in a few weeks. This is Randy Rosetta on 100.7 The Score. We'll come back after the break with the Patriot Fan Zone.